Brendan keeps telling me it's good to show our mistakes. Well, we've got a mistake here today to show you regarding a concrete countertop. And even the repair of the concrete countertop didn't go as we planned. This video is about mistakes to avoid if you're considering a concrete countertop, especially if you're considering it for outdoors. At this project, we did a concrete countertop in this outdoor kitchen behind me. It didn't come out good at the initial installation. We had cracks. These were major cracks that really were unacceptable and looked terrible. We showed it in a video, so there's a complete video you can look back on of how we repaired this concrete countertop. We completed that in late summer, early fall. We did nothing through the winter, and we had record rainfall here, lots of moisture. We think the moisture is the reason that the cracks, even though we had repaired them in ways that we didn't think they could reappear, they reappeared and bigger and uglier than ever. So again, making the concrete countertop unacceptable to us. We just didn't like the way it looked. Owners didn't like the way it looked. So we agreed to completely take it out. Chip is relaxing here on my lap. He's probably difficult to see. He's behind the table here. And I'm John Valentino, a landscape architect and a landscape contractor. We didn't really identify anything that we had done wrong, so it was hard to say, don't do this or don't do that. But we did identify things that we could do differently to try to double down on either avoiding cracks, preventing cracks, or making it so if they did occur, they wouldn't expand. We used way more rebar in the second time. We formed it really completely differently. That can maybe not prevent cracking completely, but it can prevent the cracking from becoming a problem. It can keep the cracks more manageable and small. We entertained possibilities like putting in joints like you would see in a concrete walk where you're ordaining where you want the crack to be, you know, kind of admitting you're going to have a crack, but here's where it's going to be. And there are some systems of doing that that don't look too bad, but we ended up deciding not to do that just because on a concrete countertop, it just didn't seem like what we wanted. Entertain the possibility of using fiber in the mix. Fiber is used in concrete almost like a substitute for rebar. It holds everything together and binds the concrete to try to prevent cracking. I think if I were to do it again, I would use a little more fiber in this one. There are little fibrous hairs that become visible, but I don't think that's a big negative, and I think it helps immensely. Use plenty of cement in the mixture. We entertained the possibility of some different mixes. We ended up using a very similar mix that we had used before, except we used a little bit more cement in it. Instead of a 6-sack mix, we used a 6.5-sack mix. We also had more cement finishers here because we did struggle a little bit the first time with it setting up too fast, and we struggled to finish it properly. This time we had 5 guys finishing it all at once. Since we knew a big problem was moisture, we attempted to just seal everything. We sealed everything underneath, all the concrete, everywhere we could get to seal. We put 2 or 3 coats of glaze and seal, so a good concrete sealer. And then we did the same on the finish. We applied the glaze and seal only early in the morning because this was when it was warm. It was about June. Only 1 coat, whereas the tendency is to want to put more than 1 coat in one day and finish it all. But we went back like I think it was 4 days in a row. We put 4 coats on top of the glaze and seal, and then 2 or 3 coats all underneath. We still did not eliminate all the cracks, even with the changes, but they're all hairline cracks. They're much smaller than the first time around. One of the problems we had was even the composite kitchen sink, they're cracked. There must have been some kind of settling going on or the weight of the concrete. So we replaced that with a stainless steel sink. We also put a glass washer in, a glass rinser, I should say. That has nothing to do with the cracking, but might be an interesting thing to see. The only thing that's still up in the air that we're eager to see is, does the increase of all the extra rebar we put in and the extra fiber we put in allow this to hold together to where these hairline cracks remain hairline cracks? The simpler it can be and the smaller it can be, I think the better chance of succeeding outside. I think concrete countertops are much easier to pour inside. We've done a few concrete countertops that I didn't have a problem with, but this one is by far the biggest and the most complex in that it has different levels, and I think that leads to the likelihood of cracks. The other thing that I think would be helpful is to try to pour it during a moderate time of the year in terms of weather. We ended up both times pouring it in the summer close to 100 degrees, and part of it would get real hot because it was in the full sun, and then part of it would stay shady, so it would essentially cure or dry at a different rate. That's another problem for cracking. The patching that we tried, that we did a whole video on, and that looked like it was going to be successful, I think would be appropriate inside. I wouldn't do it again outside. Thank you for watching our mistake video. If you find this video valuable, hit the like button. Tell everyone you know to subscribe and look at our other videos. We also have some good design ideas that'll help you be creative and create garden spaces that improve your life every day and make your home a better place to live.